Welcome, everybody. It's your buddy CJ here once again with another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. Guys, I had to go live today. I had to go live today to talk about this issue, the Corvette SUV. Wow, people losing their minds on this. Corvette is coming out with an SUV. It's coming. It's probably going to be a 2025 model year vehicle. There's probably going to be a V8. They're probably going to involve hybrid and electric technology as well. Guys, I'm still experimenting sort of with sharing my screen on these podcasts, but take a look. Here's a couple of renderings. Hopefully they're coming through. If they're not, I'll certainly show them again later on in the podcast. But look at this, these speculation and renderings. This thing looks good. If you like the styling of a Corvette and you like the styling cues, you can't argue with that. Maybe you can. But again, total speculation. We don't know with confidence what this thing's going to look like yet. What we do know is that it's coming, and a couple things to talk about on this. There's precedent for this in the automotive industry. Let's not forget whether it's the Porsche Cayenne, okay? And let's take a look at that, right? Porsche Cayenne, did you know? You should know if you don't know. But did you know that the Porsche Cayenne actually outsells all other Porsche models? How about that? Porsche Cayenne outsells all other Porsche models. Look at this thing. So that's a sharp looking vehicle, right? Kind of hard to argue. If you like your 911 though, and you like your Boxster or your Cayman, you better thank your lucky stars for the Porsche Cayenne. I'm serious. This thing outsells all other Porsche vehicles combined. Would Porsche be a viable business unit today in the era of the SUV without the Cayenne? Probably not. So maybe as you evolve as a car enthusiast, you develop different needs. You have your practicality desires change. You got a family. You need car seat space. You got to be able to go pick up groceries and supplies at the Home Depot or the Lowe's. This is the vehicle for you. This thing's killing it. Go to any Porsche dealership, you'll see them. Look at the Lamborghini Urus. I mean, this thing was polarizing. I remember when I first saw one of these out in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, people driving around with them. Is it a pose? Is it a poser vehicle? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, Lamborghini Urus outsells Aventador and Huracan combined for Lamborghini. Not even close, right? So again, Lamborghini as a going concern in the new era, they're capturing market share. This is about business. And guess what? For those that want something a bit more exotic, cool, fun, and sporty, get you a Cayenne or a Urus. Let's talk about Ford. Listen, those that know me know I'm not a Ford hater. I'm actually a fan. Mach-E was not for me. I think, look at this thing. They picked up the styling cues, no doubt, from the Mustang. It's not a bad looking vehicle. It's all electric. For me personally, that's where they went wrong. They went all in on electric. If they had been a little bit more aggressive with the styling, maybe also included an internal combustion engine option, maybe a hybrid option, and then eased on into the full electric. What do I think? I think there probably would have been better uptake. The styling's a little goofy for me. That's just my opinion. Sorry, Ford guys. And again, I own a Ford. I've owned many Fords. Don't have an issue with it. But this thing is not for me. This thing is not for me. And by the way, I'm fine with that. Not everything is geared towards me in the automotive community or you in the automotive community. I think Corvette is going to kill this thing and do really well. I think they're going to kill it, I should say. If they bring this thing in at that 60 to 80K sweet spot for an SUV, if you're in the market for one anyway, you need an SUV, you want something a little more sporty, why not go with the Corvette, the Corvette SUV? I think it's going to do well. And there's also a precedent for this in business. Let's not forget Coca-Cola. Think about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola put that brand on everything from swimsuits to pencils, to shirts. You can't drink a shirt, but people were steady buying Coca-Cola merch. and the shirts and everything else. Yeah, I've seen trucks with vintage pickup trucks. People brand them up Coca-Cola. That brand has caught fire and has been a wild success over the decades. So there's precedent for this in business. Think about back in the days when tobacco companies were permitted to advertise aggressively. That Marlboro brand was on everything. That Marlboro brand was on everything, and it drove their revenue. Why are we so judgmental when the automotive industry does it? Automotive enthusiasts are just the harshest people in the world sometimes. It's kind of funny. But let's take a look at where Ford got this right, in my opinion. Take a look at this thing. So what about, and let me advance my screen here. Take a look at this thing. This is what we're talking about. Who remembers this? The first Ford F-150 Harley Davidson edition. This thing was cool. This thing caught the eye of truck guys, motorcycle people, Harley Davidson gang. Although Harley Davidson guys like this that I know a lot of Harley Davidson people. This thing was a success in my mind. They sold. It's a cool looking truck. When I first saw it, my reaction was, that thing doesn't have two wheels. That's not a Sportster or a Softail, yet it was wildly successful. There is a precedent, is my point, in the automotive industry for cross-branding and the evolution of brands. Fast forward to where we're at with the prominence of the SUV in the market, where we're going with EVs and hybrids. Does it really surprise anybody? I hear it all the time. They're ruining the Corvette brand. No, they're not. That can be your opinion, but more broadly, it makes every bit of sense for the survival of the brand in this industry, in this climate. They have to do this. It makes every bit of sense. Whether you buy one or I buy one, yet to be seen. Right? But the upside here, I think Chevy's going to get it right. I think they're probably going to learn a lot from some of these other use cases we talked about. They want their piece of the action, and they're going to get it. They're going to get it. And like so much else in the business world, in the automotive industry, or outside, if a given new product or offering is not talking to you or me, guess what? It's not intended for you. It's probably not intended for you. You're not the target audience. I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. That's how we tend to be as automotive enthusiasts sometimes. In all seriousness, that's the way I try to look at these things. Like, just because it's, I might think it's awful, doesn't mean that it's going to ruin the hobby and ruin the industry. No, in fact, it's probably good for the hobby in the long run, and it's probably good for the industry, because it's about the survival of certain brands and certain models that will actually benefit from the additional revenue and keep this thing alive. So I love my 911s, my 911 people out there on the streets. I love my Mustang people. I love my Corvette people out there, my Lamborghini people, all of the above. But let's not hate on something just because they evolve into an SUV that may actually end up driving the broader success of the organization, and the high tide raises all ships. Next thing you know, there's a better, stronger, faster Corvette and a Mustang and a 911, which there are, and Lamborghini continuing to evolve. Don't you think that SUV is a big part of their business story? So before we hate on these things, before we throw shade on them, those are some of the things I'm thinking about. What do you think about it? Leave your comments there in YouTube. I'd love to read them. I'll respond to them as I can. Give me a like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. I'm super grateful. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. CJ Dietzman, Automotive Hot Seat Podcast, signing out. Peace.